Jay-Z has made over $200 million on his Armand de Brignac champagne that sells for around $300 a bottle. For reference, you can get some Dom Perignon for $149, maybe more depending on where you're listening, but Aviation Gin, owned in part by Reynolds, made around 3 times what Jay-Z did, $610 million to be exact, when they were sold to Diageo in 2020. The alcohol business seems lucrative, but take it from Aaron Paul and Bryan Cranston, who have become infamous for selling overpriced tequila, which has been referred to by many as generic at best and cheap at worst. Jay-Z is a huge fan of champagne. Just look at how he made the folks that run Cristal a ton of money by using the brand in his music videos all the time. Then, when the company's CEO made some comments that Jay-Z didn't take too well, he decided to go into the business himself. That led to him investing and promoting Armand de Brignac champagne, known as Ace of Spades. While he initially purchased a 50% stake in the company for an undisclosed amount of money, eventually he purchased the other 50 for another big sum of cash that he wouldn't tell us about, but this has always been Jay-Z's philosophy, to build brands himself if he could not find a partner that he approved of. Just look at what he's done with his Rockaware clothing line that he sold for $204 million. Oh, and his 40/40 Club sports bar that bring in tens of millions a year. Eventually, he sold that 50% for Armand de Brignac that was valued at over $600 million. Each bottle of this stuff will run you around $326. So yeah, no wonder this dude's a billionaire. Even Deadpool himself could learn a few lessons from Jay. Probably the most famous actor to own his own liquor company is Ryan Reynolds. He is well known for his Aviation Gin brand. A bottle of this stuff will run you around $33. While the Deadpool actor had a great time with the company, in the end, he managed to sell it for $610 million, with $335 million up front and the additional $275 million to be paid off depending on how the brand does for the next 10 years. Though, judging from how much Reynolds did for the brand, I'd say that he's gonna get that money. I mean, just look at how he went viral during the pandemic for making a comically large bottle of his Aviation Gin for having to homeschool his kids all day. That is pure genius. Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul famously starred together in Breaking Bad, El Camino, Better Call Saul, and the Popcorners commercials as Walter White and Jesse Pinkman. Popcorners, Mr. White! Well, apparently they had a blast together because they decided to start Dos Hombres Mezcal. They sell this stuff for over $62 a bottle. You really gotta be a Breaking Bad superfan to justify that price. At least they aren't hoping everyone pays for an obscure theater reference. Okay, so sometimes actors can be a little, eccentric. Like Kyle MacLachlan from Twin Peaks and How I Met Your Mother and the first Dune movie. He owns the Pursued by Bear brand. You know, like the infamous exit Pursued by Bear from Shakespeare's The Winter Tale. Funny, right? Well, Kyle certainly seems to think so because he is always trying to sell this stuff that's $60 a bottle. That's quite a lot for a Cab Sauv inside joke. Funnily enough, though, this stuff is supposed to be amazing. The reviews for it are outstanding. It's supposed to be full-bodied and perfectly balanced. The wine is frequently praised on Vivino, the app. That's like Rotten Tomatoes for wine. And it's been featured on channels like The Extract, where Kyle himself got personal about how much he loves this wine. So I guess he gets the last laugh. Though, honestly, I'd rather buy some of David Beckham's whiskey. And before we get to the whiskey that kicks harder than Beckham does, can you guys just take a second to like and subscribe to The Richest? We would really appreciate that. Honestly, I would be surprised if David Beckham did not have a whiskey brand. He's a partner in Heg Club Whiskey, selling these 750 milliliter bottles at $47 a pop. The reviews for this whiskey say that while the blue bottle might be a work of art, the whiskey itself is pretty meh. Some even compared it to the likes of nail polish remover. It might be a decent scotch for people who don't like scotch, but whiskey enthusiasts were not impressed. Even the whiskey.com dude was not comfortable with this brand, also citing how it may be unethical for Beckham to push so hard for it when he has a financial stake in its success. We see this exact same problem again with George Clooney. George Clooney has a stake in Casamigos tequila that sells for around $45 a bottle. The thing about this tequila is that while people seem to like it for what it is not a brand worth that much money a bottle. Supposedly, it doesn't even come close to the level of other tequilas in that price range. An example would be El Tesoro Blanco. That costs $46 a bottle for one of the best reviewed tequilas in that range. You're really just paying for George Clooney's name here. That's not a problem you have for another big name celebrity like Drake. Drake brings things to the next level with his brand. He's got Virginia Black whiskey that sells for $40 a bottle. It's been a pretty big deal, with earnings upwards of $38.5 million. Drake's whiskey 100% brings it. Virginia Black is a rye-heavy blend of 2-, 3-, and 4-year-old bourbons that supposedly is great for old bourbon drinkers and those who have not yet been initiated. How does it compare to Diddy's though? Because I'm sure you were wondering. Diddy's brand, Ciroc Vodka, is also a pretty big deal, one that runs $39 a bottle. This is supposedly well worth the money with a fruity profile that is simply exquisite. This seems to be a vodka that's pretty on par with what Drake's doing. People seem to really love it and even consider it worth the big price. No wonder it's one of the most successful spirit brands out there with a value of over $3 billion. Looks like Diddy beats Drake this time around. Though honestly, I prefer how Ryan Reynolds sells his brand over all of these. So, now seems like a good time to announce my official, the richest brand tequila. Oh yeah, just ignore the fact that if you peel off the label, it reads Jose Cuervo.